things cannot be too loose. It has to be in the middle in order to produce music. So say, I'm not going to take this extreme path. My path is the middle way, Madhyam Nikaya. And if you look more closely what Madhyam Nikaya means, if you take the roller, pendulum, okay, when it goes left and then takes the motion to go right, it is in time. When it comes exactly in the middle, there is no time. So if you want to reach timelessness, the best way is the middle way. Very beautiful answer given by Christ. Christ was asked, can you describe the nature of this kingdom of God that you are talking about, or heaven that you are talking about? Can you describe something about that heaven that you are talking about? And Christ doesn't say anything that is described in the religious books about heaven. He says, I can't tell you what will be there in heaven, but I'll tell you one thing, what will not be there, and that is time. There shall be no time. So if you want to reach the timelessness, then Buddha says, my way is the middle way. Another very important aspect of Buddha, very important aspect of Buddha is, Buddha says that after he found whatever he found, he says, I'm not going to talk about, I'm not ever going to talk about what I found. Because it is not important. Because I cannot, first of all, what I have found, I cannot describe it to you anyway. Because it is inexpressible. The state I have reached, or anybody who has found this truth has reached, that truth can be experienced only. You cannot describe it through words. Because once you use the mind, everything becomes dual. And this truth is non-dual, Advaita. As a matter of fact, Buddha says, I cannot call it one. Everybody else says that there is one truth, absolute truth. But one has no meaning when there is no two. So to call it one is not right. So when he is compelled to say anything, then he doesn't even say like Mahavir that there is Atma there. He says there is Anatma. There is Anatta. Look at this guy. He says you cannot call it one because one has no significance when there is no other. So he says what I have found is Shunya. Nirvana. And he defines Nirvana beautifully. He says, what is Nirvana? Buddha asked Ananda. He said, what happens to light when you blow the candle? Where does that light go? That's what I call Nirvana. Now, very difficult, person to understand when he says, I have found nothing. What have you found? I have found Shunya. But says Shunya is not nothing, it is no thing. Always remember, nothing is not nothing, but it is no thing. It is something which is not material. And that Shunya that Buddha is talking about is Purna. It is the same Purna that Isavasya Rishi is saying. Because zero is infinite. So it is total. the beauty of Buddha is that he says, what can I say about something which is not sayable? And a wise man always believes that which cannot be said should not be said. Even Buddha goes further than that, says that even that what I just said doesn't make sense, because if you cannot say it, why do you have to say that which cannot be said should not be said? Why waste time on that? So he remains quiet as to what he has found, what is the ultimate thing that he found. He says that's irrelevant. I don't want to talk about it. The story goes that whenever Buddha went from one village to the other, he would send Anand first there. Anand would go there a day before. And he would gather all the people to whom Buddha was going to speak. He said, look guys, Buddha has asked me to tell you that don't ask these stupid questions. Is there God? Is there heaven or hell? Don't ask this. He will not talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it. And Buddha used to say that consider to me a doctor. I am Vaidya. I am no more than a Vaidya. And what is the Vaidya doing? He said, well, you have this arrow in your leg. Those ask me these irrelevant questions as to who shot this arrow to me. What was the reason why he shot at me and nobody else? What did I do to deserve this arrow and nobody else? These are all irrelevant questions. You are under pain, my fellow. You want to remove that, I know how to remove it. That's all. He says dharma, according to him, is not vichar but upachar. It's not philosophy. It is a remedy. It is a treatment. That's what I am saying, that is very rational. All irrational things he removes. He said, that's what I am here to remove your misery. Are you interested? Are you interested? That's what his basic question is. And now I know how to do that. And if you want to do that, then follow the way that I have followed. So what he talks about is Dhammapada. His Upadesh is called Dhammapada. Pada means the path. Steps leading to that law. And all that he talks about is not what the truth is, not what God is. He doesn't go into those esoteric questions at all. That is the only thing I can talk to you intelligently. Because you have not experienced what I have experienced. Even if I tell you, you will not understand me. First of all, it is not describable. And even if I describe, you have not experienced, so what good it will make to you. But I can talk to you about the path that I have followed. And that path I can describe. That pada I can describe. That method I can describe. And if you are prepared to follow that path, you will also reach the same thing that I reach, and then you will not ask, because you have experienced the same thing. I don't have to do anything about it. So I'm telling you, again and again I am emphasizing this, because that seems very rational. Very rational. If you take a young mind, a scientifically trained mind, a reason-oriented mind, it makes sense to them. That okay, he is asking me to do the experiment. Okay? He doesn't even have to have a hypothesis for God. He says just, this is the experiment, you can do it. You are the laboratory. And you can experiment upon yourself. You are the teacher and you are the disciple. You are the guru. Try it. So all that Buddha talks about is the method, is the path. The Buddha was also contemporary of Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is the original proponent of Taoism. As a matter of fact, this is also a very fascinating story. When Bodhidharma, went to China, and this is also very fascinating. Buddha was unique, and sometimes we wonder why. Buddhism was sent out of India and it fell into all of Asia. Brahmins were more clever and cunning than anybody else.
They're not anymore.
What happened with Christ? Christ was a Jew. And if Jews had not killed him, Christianity would not be where it is today. So really Christianity should give very thanks to Jews who killed him. The same happened to Mansur. Mansur was a Sufi. And Mansur believed exactly what Upanishads are saying. And Muslims, they could not tolerate him, as Jews did not tolerate Christ. Usko सूली पर चढ़ा दिया, Mansur. And at the time when he was on the Vadasthana, what did he say? Anal Haq, Aham Brahmasmi, that's what he says. So those people were not as smart as Brahmins. What Brahmins did was, they said, Buddha, oh boy, such a flowering of consciousness. We call him 10th avatar, Hindu ka 10th avatar is Buddha. But then they said, Buddha has said nothing new. What Buddha has said is already in Upanishad. You read Gita, what is Gita? He talks about meditation, fine. So they did not kill him, but they said, there is nothing you don't follow. You don't have to follow him. Follow Hinduism. That's okay. It is only in time of Ashoka, because Ashoka accepted Buddhism, that large, portion of the Indian population followed Buddhism, but otherwise not. So when Bodhidharma went to China, still, some of the followers were following this austerity part of Buddhism. And Taoism is a very natural way of living life. Taoism is, to live according to your nature. Subha. Lao Tzu was exactly opposite to Buddha. Buddha, says that he never laughed. I don't believe that, but that's what the Buddhists say. He's very serious, peaceful, sharp. Lao Tzu used to ride buffalo. And he would laugh so much that he would fall down of the buffalo. Quite opposite. It's very fascinating that when two religions, any other two religions have met, they have always when Buddhism and Taoism met. They took the best part of Buddhism, best part of Taoism, and we have now a beautiful religion came out of that union. It's called Zen. Zen is nothing but the mixture of both Buddhism and Taoism. And look at this, what is Zen? Okay, in Pali, that's what's so fascinating, that both Buddha and Mahavir never used the language of the scholars. Brahmins were very expert in talking everything in Sanskrit. The beauty was that nobody understood what they were saying. That is exactly what is happening right now. Most of the rituals, nobody understands what they are saying. That's beautiful. They don't understand themselves and they don't have to explain. So you use such a language that nobody understands. Buddha never used language of the kings, language of the scholars, he never used that. He used Pali. That was a colloquial language. Mahavir used Prakrut. That was also a colloquial language. And in Pali, Dhyan is pronounced Jhan, Jhan. So when Bodhidharma went to China, that Jhan becomes Chan, because they could not pronounce it Jhan. They pronounced it Chan. And then when that went to Japan, they called it Zen. But it is pure Dhyan, nothing else. Zen means meditation. There is an interesting story about Lao Tzu also, which is relevant for Buddha. Lao Tzu became very old, and then he decided that now I want to leave my body, so he says, I'm going to Himalayas now. Enough. So all his, disciples said, that boy, you have spoken and we understand, but you have not written anything. So why to lose everything, At least we will not allow you to leave. And the story goes that they kept him, locked up in a room and said, we will not allow you to leave till you write a book. And it is said that in one night, it is a very small book called Tao Te Ching. It is the masterpiece of Taoism that Lao Tzu wrote, Tao Te Ching, in one night. And he played a big trick on people. The first sentence of Tao Te Ching says, Tao which can be said is not Tao. Okay. Truth which can be said is not a truth. So he said that first sutra and then said, now if you want to read. So, that's what Buddha is saying. Buddha is saying truth is inexpressible. Truth you can experience, you cannot express it. So he said, I'm not going to waste my time on that. I am talking about the way, I am talking about the path. I am talking about the experiment that you can make. And there are only two ways. I have been talking to you for the last 3 lectures. I have been talking to you. There are only two ways. One is bhakti, or what they call prem. Narad defines bhakti as prem swarupa. Bhakti is love, unconditional love. And then Narad says, look at this. There are two ways. The truth is inexpressible. truth cannot be described. And there are two ways of reaching truth. One is bhakti. And Narad says that bhakti is prema swarupa. But then he says, prema swarupa is a nirvacaniyam. You cannot say anything about it. You cannot describe it. How many 100,000 songs are written in Indian cinema about love? Nobody has been able to describe that. Nobody has been able to describe. So, here is the problem. Either you can be in love of that level in bhakti, or you can, but you cannot describe that path even. What about truth? Forget about the truth which cannot be described. But the way to reach it cannot be described. So that's not in your hand. That you will fall in love to such an extent that you will annihilate yourself. You will destroy yourself. Your ego will be lost. Now at that time Narad describes that as Sulabha. Bhakti is Sulabha. Very easy. I don't think in the modern times that is easy to lose yourself in love with somebody else. That you can surrender totally and your ego evaporates. So I believe that I will change that Narad Bhakti Sutra. Bhakti is prema swarupa but durlabha. Not easy. Now if you can, in the first step, lose yourself and reach that oneness or Advaita instead of two one. But that path itself is undescribable. So Buddha says, Mahavir says, if that's what your way is, if that's what your Svabhav is, if that's what your Swadharma as Gita defines it, fine, follow that path. But that's not my path. That's not my path. Buddha says, that's not my path. And look at the tragedy. Maximum statues of any person in the world is Buddha. Buddha never said that worship. There is only one temple. I don't know whether you have seen it, but in Japan they say one temple. When you enter, there is nothing inside, emptiness. That's the real representative because he says Shunya. There is no statue.
Lotus temple.
Yeah,
Delhi.
in Delhi.
There's no statue, nothing.
Yes, because that Shunya represents Buddha. But look at it, highest number of statues are of Buddha. And Buddha never said, that's not his way. As a matter of fact, there is a very interesting story of Isa Gautami. All other religions depend upon miracles. Christ had to, make Lazarus alive from the dead body. All religions depend upon these miracles. Christ was resurrected after 3 days. Now the whole Christianity falls if Christ died on the cross. No, he never died on the cross. Miracle, after 3rd day he was alive. Buddha is rational, Buddha is scientific because Buddha says, don't expect me to do any miracles. I am not here to do miracles. I told you the story of Ramakrishna. Somebody says that Ramakrishna here is a sadhu who can walk on water. So Ramakrishna says, oh, I can give 4 annas to this Navik and he will take me. Why should I waste my time on walking on the water? No miracles in Buddhism. So Isha Gautami comes, poor lady, she has only one son, and the son is dead. And somebody says Buddha has come, here in the village. Go to him, he can make your son alive. And poor lady Isha Gautami goes and cries to Buddha. Bhagavan, only son, wake him up, you can do miracles. Buddha says, fine, no problem, I can do that. Go to in this village and bring me some mustard seeds. But one condition, you have to bring me that mustard seeds from a home where there has never occurred any death. And the poor lady, goes from home to home to home to home. And everybody says, hey, this village, mustard seeds are plenty. That's what, we are, farming here. No problem. But that condition, no. Impossible. So the lady comes and says, Bhagwan, you did the trick, I now know. But I have to accept that. That's such a, it's a destined thing. Nobody can do anything about it. And he says, give me sannyas. And I consider better than, making lava as alive. This is the greatest miracle that Buddha did. Greatest miracle that anybody can ever do, that he converted this Isha Gautami into a sannyasi. It is said that after giving sannyas, Buddha never initiated any woman before that, because his way was meditation way, not the bhakti mark. So he never initiated a woman before, but for the first time he said, Isha, you convinced me, I can't do anything about it, I have to give you sannyas. So Isha Gautami was the first woman that Buddha initiated into sannyas. But then he made a statement that I thought that my religion would last 5,000 years, but now it will only last 500 years because I initiated you. And he was right, because most of the Buddhism followers, they worship him. They don't follow him. They are temples. Buddha never said, you worship me. That's not his way. Mahavir never said that you worship me. His way was meditation. And look at the tragedy. He was right. He was right. But again, let me clarify. I'm not saying that it has to do with male and female in the sexual connotation. I'm talking about the psychological approach to realizing truth. Because there are many male, people who have reached truth through Bhakti Marg. Chaitanya. It was said that Chaitanya was so powerful in logic. As a matter of fact, they say that the village from where Chaitanya came, everybody was a logician. Very powerful, intelligent, intellectual person. And he accepted, Bhakti Marg was dancing on the road. Meera, Chaitanya, even Shankaracharya, such Kushagra Buddhi, I would say Shankaracharya was no less than Einstein of his age. But he ultimately said, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Buddha Mate. And who are these Buddha Mate, by the way? Murmate are those scholars who read Shastra all the time. Have you ever noticed that nobody has become enlightened by reading Shastra? There is no human history, there is no record that somebody read Gita, scholarly way, interpreted Gita, or read 108 Upanishads and Puran and everything else and became enlightened. There is no human history, recorded history. Have you ever also noticed there is nobody is enlightened nowhere in recorded history? Nobody is enlightened in a mosque or in a church or in a temple. Nobody. Moses in the desert. Muhammad in a cave. Mahavir standing, somewhere. Buddha under the, Bodhi tree. Always nature. They are always in the nature when they become enlightened. And there is a beautiful story of Buddha is that, he was sitting there and the morning star appears and disappears. And as the star disappears, his ego also disappears and he feels like. So Buddha also, he says that knowledge is not enough. Nobody has reached through philosophy. Nobody has ever reached truth through philosophy. Because philosophy is searching about the truth. It's about. You are round and round and round, not reaching there. So Buddha says that philosophy is not important. What I am teaching you is philosophia. You can see the truth. Truth can be seen, it cannot be thought about. And those who think about, those who read Shastras, write theses, write bhashyas, write interpretations after interpretations, they are all Mudapate. Mudapate are those who know everything else except themselves. Those who know the knower, they are the only intelligent people. The knowing of the knower is the only intelligent people, and they also don't talk about it. They only experience it, they just see it. So Kabir says very beautifully कि लिखा लिखी की बात नहीं है, देखा देखी की बात है. It's not a matter of learning and writing. He didn't know how to write and read, but he saw the truth, darshan. So, in effect, what is the way? That's what Buddha is talking about all the time. What is the way? And that's where Mahavir, Krishna, Buddha, all are saying the same thing. And what is the same thing? Remember the definition of Muni that Mahavir gave. Mahavir has given the shortest, the briefest, one-word definition of the Muni. And what is that? Asutta. One who is not asleep. What is the definition of yogi that Krishna has given? When everybody is asleep, the yogi wakes up.
Yes, you say again.
He never sleeps. His body sleeps, but he is awake. And that is what exactly Buddha says. No difference in terms of method. What Buddha says is all of us, although we believe that we are awake, this consciousness that you are having right now is not consciousness at all. We are all somnambulists. We walk in the sleep. And they are very true. Why? Because if we were awake, we will not be doing what we are doing. We are all doing things as a reaction. All our actions are coming out of our conditionings. All our actions are coming out of our unconscious and unconsciousness. Those actions are not ours. We are not doing anything with full awareness. We are asleep. The consciousness that Freud defines is what we are at this planet. That's what he calls conscious. And Freud and Jung and Adler goes into that sub-layer of consciousness. So first of all, the conscious that Freud defines is self-consciousness. And from self-consciousness he says there is subconscious, there is unconscious, there is collective unconscious, and there is cosmic unconscious. Okay? So the modern psychology has discovered 4 under layers of consciousness. And what the present level of our consciousness, which creates ego, he calls it conscious. Buddha says that consciousness